Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Michael from Mikilians Media, and today we will be looking at how to edit this shoe right here. Basically, what we are going to be doing is cut it out into a new background and make it look like it's sitting on a mirror and it's reflected down below, right? So if that's what you want to learn, then you're actually in the right place. Alright, so basically we're going to be doing this. I'm using Photoshop 2022, so right here we have quick selection tool. Alright, so we're using our quick selection tool right here. Shortcut to go to that is W. So basically on this Photoshop there is a select subject and then select a mask. So basically you can just hit select subject and Photoshop will select the subject. Alright, so see, Photoshop actually did an amazing job selecting this subject. I mean, let's zoom in up a little bit. So basically what we are going to be doing is correcting this tiny imperfection that we have in the selection, right? So in order to do that, we'll come to our polygonal lasso tool here. Yeah, this is it. So we use that. Basically, if you're on this particular one, this particular box right here, you're going to aside every other selection is going to make a new selection, and that's not what we want to do. And if we're here in the minus, it's going to subtract from the existing selection, right? Let's say we're here and then we come here, click on it, click on it, click on it, click on it, and get back to where we started from. See, we have removed this from the selection. Right now, let's say we are here, this box right here. So if we're on this box, you see that on the icon in itself on your mouse, it's showing a plus. Now that means we're actually adding to the selection. So let's say we want to add this part of the shoe here, and then we come here back to where we started from. This is now being added to the selection, right? So you hold your space bar and then move the shoes around, right? See, all these parts are not part of the selection, and we actually want it to be part of the selection since it's part of the shoe, right? So you just click once and then move further and click and click and click. You just keep it going. So we head back to where we started from and double click, and see, this is now part of the selection. So that's how we are going to actually refine this selection to make sure everything actually sits where it's supposed to sit here. Now there are some tiny pixels here that are not part of the selections that we want to be part of the selection, so we just come here and click and click and click and click and click and click and click. Just keep going, take your time, be patient with it. Some products are easier to select and some others are not. So now we have all of this, and now we want to add this, and now we want to see this part is selected here and this part is not selected, and then we want to remove this part so it's not part of the selection. So we come to minus and then we come here and click on it, click on it, click on it, and click on it and click on it and click here, right? So now this is no longer part of the selection, right? Now this part here we want to add it to the selection, so we go back and take the plus one and we are going to add it up, and then come back to where we started from, right? You see, that is actually being added to the selection, right? So let's straighten this out. Right, see how that also has been added to the selection, right? So we want to remove this tool from the selection. Oh, see, because it's on plus, it actually added to the selection here. So let's Ctrl Z to undo that, and we'll come to our minus here, and we click on this, click on it, and click on it, and go back to where we started from. You see, we actually removed that from the selection, right? So see this part here, we probably want to add this to the selection, so we'll come to our plus, and we are going to add it to the selection, right? We are going to add all of that to the selection here. Now, cutting out tiny bit of the pixel is really not a problem, because when you zoom back out, you won't really notice it. As you can see, those parts right there, they're actually faded, they're actually blurred out from the camera when taking the picture. So it doesn't really mean that it's going to really affect it a great deal, but we want to get it as good as possible, right? So we are going to add this to the selection. Right now, you keep holding your space bar and then moving the image along, just so you can see. Because you are really zoomed out, you can actually see the edges of the shoe right there, right? So now what we want to do here is also add to the selection here. So we are on our plus, and we're just going to add to the selection, right? So we come back to where we started from. Can you see that? Alright, so as you can see, Photoshop actually did a great job to this. Now let's add this to the selection. Alright, so yeah, so we have that, and see this part right here, we probably want to add it to the selection too. So we just go back and do that and do that and do that, and then hit back. So we actually have that. Let's zoom back out. So as you can see, we've actually selected a lot of this image, and then it's actually looking great. Our selection is actually looking really nice. So now what we want to do is we actually right click on this image, and then we feather. Let's feather 2 pixels, right, and hit OK. So in order to put this on a different layer, what we can do is after selection, we can just hit Ctrl J to duplicate it. As you can see, it's now on a different layer on its own. So now we can actually come down here and add our solid color adjustment layer, which you can actually change to whichever color you so choose. Right, so let's do red for the moment, yeah, just for tutorial sake. So right now you can actually move the shoe up down. Let's say we take it up a little bit. Yeah, so we have that. And in order to create the effect like it's actually sitting on a mirror here, first we duplicate the shoe again, just so we have like 2 different shoes on the layer here. So we have one at the top and one on the bottom. So for the one on the top, so we can just hit Ctrl T on our keyboard to go to free transform, and then for the height we just come here and add minus to it. As you can see, it's been flipped over, so now we can bring it down. Alright, so we can just adjust it to what we think is best for us. Right, so what we can further do to make this effect really realistic is we'll just come to our eraser tool, click on it, and then so once we have our eraser tool selected, we can come here and reduce our hardness to 0, and then for the size of the brush, we can usually, as we always do, we can just increase or decrease our brush size with our left and right bracket keys. Right, so let's reduce our flow to like say 30%, and let's just So now we can just reduce the opacity to what we want here, just so it's like a reflection and not the actual image, right? So let's just do 45, and this is totally fine, right?